Thank you. God, my job title's a mouthful, isn't it? Apologies. I realize in just this exact moment that this is quite a revealing presentation. The number of television and movie references in here indicates not only my age, but just how much television I consume. So apologies for that. And if you get most or all of the references, I invite you to come with me later and touch grass. If you get all of the references, perhaps we can book some invasive, age-appropriate medical checkups together. It could be an interesting networking opportunity. So onto my presentation, which is what might agentic and generative AI mean for CX leaders? Can I just say I'm really happy about the might, because that's going to save me later on. But onto the topic. Is agentic and generative AI the bumbling, well-intentioned AI kind of agent at the center of activities, surrounded by human competence and guided towards a successful goal? It's not unlikely. Or is AI and agentic and generative AI the single-minded automaton ruthlessly pursuing optimization and thereby destroying humanity or attempting to? Also, sadly, not impossible. So this is sort of a little bit about what I'll explore as I go on. I only ever took one piece of presenting advice. I'm about to completely ignore it. That advice was, tell people what you're going to tell them, then tell them what you told them. I always got caught up because in telling you what I was going to tell you, I'd end up telling you, and then I'd just run out of time, and I still feel a massive amount of guilt for poor Steve, who was 11 minutes out of time because of me. So instead of telling you what I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell me what I'm going to tell you, then I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to tell you what I told you, and this will start to make sense again. I'm not going to read through this because I'm at risk of going over time again, but we'll come back to it and it might make a little more sense. So the first thing connecting CX and AI is they share their foundations, and that foundation is good, solid data, or the Death Star. In CX, we analyze that data, we synthesize it, we think about it, we identify trends and opportunities for optimization, and we create a seamless, utopian customer experience. AI, with the same data, analyzes, finds trends, looks for optimizations, and creates some kind of rampaging hell machine. No, I'm just kidding. What it actually does is scales and automates what we as CX leaders do. This is the theory, and I'm just going to talk you through, and I hope the animations work. So this is kind of the foundational old school CX. We have data, we have the human who synthesizes that and finds the insights, finds the opportunities, finds what's performing, what's not. They then orchestrate. So we create the experience, we create the website, we generate the content, and deliver it to our customers who ultimately have the experience. Now, a while back, a little door opened, and that was the automation door, and this is how machine learning, algorithms, and ultimately AI are creeping in. And that's fine. That enables us to deliver better customer experiences at a larger scale. Things like Salesforce Marketing Cloud personalization. Some of the content and content modularization things that we're working on are happening at that orchestration layer. But there's always the human sitting here synthesizing this data. What we're seeing now, as AI is given more autonomy or is encroaching more on the human space of CX, is this, which is we have an AI analyzing and synthesizing that data, plugged directly into the automation machines, generating content, and ultimately delivering the experience. That's the theory. Apologies, my growth mindset training is showing here. It's not a problem, it's a challenge. Our data is a mess. Everybody's doing show of hands. Show of hands if your company has perfect data. Get out. This isn't for you. Our data is largely a dumpster fire, or a large dumpster fire, or a large dumpster on fire. And the reason that CX has been able to work is because there's a human sitting there synthesizing this data. I can look at all of it and go, I need to discount that because actually sitting on some marketer's desktop is a spreadsheet that contains the real data. That stuff, those are consents, but they're not really consents because the doctors only gave consent on the condition that we wouldn't email them because the rep was trying to meet their consent KPI. That sort of thing. Now look, I'm not an AI, although my wires are showing, but you give me that data, I want to destroy humanity. So if we're going to give a CX AI that level of data, best case is it's going to not be able to deliver optimal experiences because it's not building on solid data. Now, to my first point, I'm old enough to have worked and lived through a whole bunch of trends in CX and in particular pharma. And I've been through integrated marketing, digital first, multi-channel, omnichannel, opti-channel. Does anybody remember content modularization? We're now in AI. Now my barometer for when a trend has run its course is when my GM gets sick of the word. And that happened after about 7 months with Omnichannel. And I'm really excited about the next big thing, because the next big thing is what the consultancies sell us, and it's what comes back to us from GMs and leadership as buzzwords, you know, like the Omnichannel, the Opti-channel, content modularization. The next big thing is the next big thing that nobody wants. It's cleaning up our data, finally. We finally have to do it if we want to go anywhere near towards realizing the potential of AI. I'm going to do another show of hands. If you can muster the energy to lift them. How many of you are involved in foundational data cleanup activities? I'm terribly sorry. Oh my God. I'm really looking forward to the day that my GM gets sick of hearing data compliance, data quality, data mesh, data enablement, because I am involved in all of these to clean up this dumpster fire so that we can enable AI to deliver customer experiences. Now, there's a metaphor that I'm not going to use. Well, I'll say it, right? We're building the plane while we're flying it. We can't wait for our data foundations to be repaired before we start building the AI systems and services on top of it and enabling it. There's too much pressure, there's too much momentum, and given that it's pharma, it'll be 2045 before we're ready to switch AI on. So what we have to do is build the structures of AI while we're repairing and building the foundations. Now that might sound like a terrifying prospect, and in a lot of ways it is, but it's kind of okay because it forces incremental, slow change and evolution. And when we're talking about a shift on the scale that is represented by things like generative and agentic AI, it needs to be incremental. You can't just switch the lights off one night and come back in and have everything automated and all singing and dancing the next day, because involved in this process intimately are squishy, unpredictable, weird humans. And I'll look at the example of self-driving cars. We couldn't just overnight activate all autonomous vehicles because not all of the vehicles on the road are autonomous, and the people behind the wheels aren't comfortable with it. It takes, to quote Taylor Swift, or probably somebody else, it's going to happen by 1,000 cuts. Now, I remember a time, and again I'm showing my age, this is the recurring theme, I remember when cruise control in a car was an exciting thing. And also a little bit scary. Do I trust the car to keep going this? How am I going to do it? You had to brake, you had to steer, you had to do all these things. Cruise control has gotten more and more sophisticated over time, and we rely on it. Same with parking and sensors, auto park assist, little bits and pieces of our autonomy and our power over the vehicle are slowly being shaved away. And that's not a bad thing, but that's how agentic and generative AI are going to encroach further and further into our roles as CX leaders. I like murdering metaphors. I'm going to do it a few times, or if I haven't already. So here we go. If you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a day. If you teach him to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. If you give an AI a task, it will execute it, probably, within relatively reliable parameters. If you give that AI a set of goals and objectives, it will test and learn and optimize and find the most efficient and optimal way to deliver that outcome and achieve that objective in perpetuity until you switch it off. So this is the shift of giving tasks to AI to giving objectives and goals to AI. And I'm just going to talk through quickly a couple of small use cases about how this is coming out in pharma, or could potentially, may or may not be happening at BMS, because I forgot my disclaimer, but these are my personal views and not those of my employer. So we're talking about adverse event monitoring, right? Fairly simple use case in this era to set up a monitoring service that tracks through social media and email and phone calls and these types of things, identifies an adverse event report, and flags it to a human at the end of the process. That's giving AI a task, and then it's a human on the human at the end to close the loop on that. What it means when we give the goal to the AI, it becomes adverse event reporting. And suddenly, we're enabling that agent to take the next steps, to verify the report, to complete the report. And really, if we're lucky, the human will be flagged at the end. To take it into the role of, kind of in the commercial space and customer experience, we're going to look at and see similar incremental change across other channels. We look at old school ad buy. Oh, sorry, I used to live with a media buyer, so I'm going to get rid of that now. We look at old school ad buying. You just gave a lot of money, you got a lot of terps, you got impressions, whatever. We move into the age of performance marketing because suddenly we're powered by data. There's a human making the decisions, executing the campaigns. Enter algorithms and programmatic marketing. We instigate the campaign, we have the budgets, the data is synthesized by the programmatic engine, the ads are served, our hands are largely off it. What it looks like in agentic media is those automation and orchestration tools that we introduced at the start are going to sit in, and the whole process end-to-end is driven by agentic and generative AI with minimal involvement of a human in the loop. There's a common theme here. We talk about email. Started with an email. You could just send a mass email to 5, 10, 100,000 people. You had your target list, you sent it. Moving the orchestration and automation tools, suddenly we're sending campaigns. We're sending things that are personalized. We're sending them based on when customers open them. But there's always a human in the loop. We're getting a little further away here when we fully realize some of the potential around MCP and things like Salesforce Marketing Cloud to fully automate these experience campaigns through email. And when we plug that into agentic marketing, again, we're out of the loop, especially the automation and orchestration tools, analyzing the data, finding insights, instigating campaigns, even generating content and orchestrating the entire campaign. The theme here, you'll see these threads are all pulling together into what we are all being sold by various consultancies, which is a fully agentic AI-driven customer experience, almost to the point, or probably to the point, that AI is even not only identifying the opportunities for campaigns, but then generating and suggesting the content and messaging we should use, targeting the customers and executing it. And our job is sitting there, clicking buttons and clicking approve. The first question might be how I got Gemini to generate this image. Unfortunately, I don't know. I couldn't replicate it, so I had to save it. It was just one time I asked for it to refine it, and it wouldn't do it. So, by fixing our data foundations and giving our goals over to agentic and generative AI, are we digging our own graves? Are we automating and roboting ourselves out of the job? And a few people have asked this question, what the hell are we going to do? And I don't mind that question because I have an answer, and it gives me a chance to use a favorite slide of mine that has been in my head for as long as I can remember. This is how I see our jobs. These are our customers. What's our customer fit? This is not our customer at all. At the top, very much our customer. How interested are they in our products and services? Really interested here. High-level advocates, peer-to-peer influence, not talking to us at all here. Our job is to move customers, so the guys above the line that are definitely customers, from here to here. It's that easy. It's not that easy. What I've been talking about and what's happening is this part of the job is being automated and given over to AI. So what is our job? Our job is here. And this is the biggest evolution that CX leaders are going to have to make. We move from being users of data to makers of data. It's the difference between being a practicing physician in a clinic, looking at data, sitting in front of a patient, and identifying their condition and using that data to guide your decision-making process, and being the associate professor who's doing research and running clinical trials and finding and generating new data for these guys to make their decisions based on, or rob you if you're going to get the reference. So the thing here is our job becomes to tell the AIs things they don't know, to generate new data, because the models are only going to be able to work based on things that exist and things that have happened. And fortunately, usually, humans change. What was true 6 months ago is not necessarily going to be true in 6 months' time. We need to keep feeding these machines new data, and that's the role of the human and the CX leader. Redefine what a customer looks like. Redefine what interest is. Experiment with new channels and content types. Do stupid things. Now, there's a phrase or a metaphor I've been using a lot, and a lot of people here are using it. I use it about 9 times a day. Garbage in, garbage out. And it's true today. But if we fix our data foundations, garbage in, garbage out becomes our jobs. And I'm really excited about that. Now, the only caveat on that is it's not literal garbage. Like, we can't feed in incomplete or inaccurate data. But once the machines take over, and I say that optimistically, we need to shift our thinking around data, because all data is good data to a machine. The most powerful thing about the TikTok algorithm when it came out was not only did it optimize based on what you watched, it optimized based on what you didn't watch. And AI and algorithms will see and do see data in the same way. A customer not opening an email, not clicking a link, is as powerful a data point as when they do click those links. As humans focused on performance and optimization, we've traditionally been looking at what performs well, what performs correctly. We don't optimize or consider what's not clicked, what's not interacted with. But to these models, all data is good data, just like pizza. So our role as CX leaders becomes a bit different. We have to eat some pretty big frogs. And the frog I'm currently eating involves 6-hour Teams calls reviewing data spreadsheets, discussions and procurement sessions about data mesh, data enablement, data compliance, agency contract renegotiation to make sure they input all of the things and bits and pieces they need in order for our AIs to do the jobs that they're built to do. We need to delegate the optimization of our customer experience to the AIs, to let Marketing Cloud, to let MCP and Salesforce Marketing Cloud and any other of these automation engines, along with your content optimization, we need to delegate our KPIs to them. We need to say, you need to optimize campaign X for outcome Y. And the final thing, the most difficult one perhaps, is giving our goals and objectives to AI. Not just tasks, but our actual objectives, what we want to achieve for the customer. Not the metrics that we want to achieve, not the budgets we need to spend, nothing like that. We need to give them our actual goals. And then our job becomes sitting in the background, trying weird and squishy new things and generating garbage to shovel into this model so that it can keep learning and doing new things based on what the humans around it are experiencing and want. And I'm so close to finishing on time, but I'm still really a little bit sorry. So come back to my first slide where I'm going to tell you what I told you. CX and AI share their foundations in data, but much of that data is a massive mess, and the work of cleaning it up is critical. But that requires that our work in AI be incremental as we fix the foundations, and that is fine, because over time we're going to slowly empower AI, which means giving it our autonomy and our objectives and goals. This might make us superfluous, but it moves our role as CX leaders from the center of my favorite graph to the edges where we generate new data. Because in the new world, all data is good data. There's no such thing as garbage in, garbage out. But to get there, we need to eat some pretty big frogs. Thank you.